Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Friday series on supervised access. This week, we are going to look at termination of a access session, visitation session, supervised parenting time session early. And what are the things that could lead to that happening? So, the first thing that we need to talk about is child safety. That is going to be the main reason why we're going to be looking at ending a session early. And this can be anything from the parent being supervised as acting inappropriately to something happening at the venue and the venue closing or needing patrons to move to a different location, to the child getting hurt during the visitation, to inappropriate conversations and inappropriate touching. Those are probably the more general ones. And then we move into the parent that's being supervised requesting that the visit or access time be terminated or ended early. If the parent being supervised wants to end the session early, so be it. We document and we ask for the reason and we document that as well. And there we go. What about the parent that dropped the children off requesting that the children be returned before the end of the visit? Sure, depending on the reason. I mean, if it's just because it's convenient for them, if there is a court order, maybe a reminder that the court order states that the visit should be this many hours or from this time to this time. And so we would have to consider the reason why. So who makes the decision about whether or not the access time ends early? That decision is made by the supervisor, and the supervisor is using their judgment to make the determination. I think except in the situation where the parent being supervised is expressing that they've had enough or something has happened and they need the children to go back to the other parent earlier than expected. What is the role of the supervisor in terminating or ending a visit early? Making the decision to do so, contacting the other parent, arranging to keep the children safe while the other parent is returning to the visitation site, and documentation. And that's it. Supervisors are neutral third parties, and so they cannot take on the role of supporting one parent's request to terminate the session early. They have to take a very specific role. What happens if the child is injured on the visit and that ends up being the reason? One of the issues with supervised visitation and access in British Columbia is that it's not regulated. And so therefore the supervisor may not carry insurance that would protect them in the event that the child was injured on the visitation or access time. So if the child is injured, emergency services would need to be called, the other parent would need to be called, and it may have to be explained to emergency services who who you are as the supervisor. We can't just put the parent requiring supervision in charge and have them accompany the children to the hospital or whatever it might be. If that parent is under a supervision order that does not allow them to be alone with the children. And emergency services personnel are there to treat the children, not take on the supervision role. And that can be something that in an emergency situation can be very difficult for people to understand. And this is where supervisors having training in conflict resolution and crisis management and understanding their role plays an important part. Not all supervisors are going to have all of those things, and this is where you are going to have to ensure that at the beginning, when you started this process, you asked all of the correct questions. And we'll be posting another episode about questions that should be asked when you are first engaging in the supervised visitation process to ensure that the children are adequately cared for during the visit and that they have the credentials to manage your specific situation. If this is a situation where the children or child have been touched inappropriately or inappropriate comments have been made, the supervisor may have to add another level and contact the Ministry of Children and Family Development as well as emergency services. And we will do another series on the issue of reportability, or what is considered an obligation to report to the Ministry of Children and Family Development where children are concerned. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Our phone number has changed, and you can now reach us at 778-860-4637, or you can reach us by email at evergreenconflictmcrs@gmail.com.